Good afternoon, Mr. Crockett.
Boogeyman band coming round the bend. Is Boogeyman band. Is Boogeyman band.
Tribute. Greetings, my fellow Fright Fiends. Thanks so much for stopping by the Horror Zone channel. I hope everyone's doing well. Today's video is part 17 of my Quiet Little Tribute to Salem's Lot series. And today's video is going to be focusing on the character of Larry Crockett, played by the late, great Fred Willard. Fred Willard was an actor that I would see in many things over the years after seeing him for the first time in Salem's Lot. Fred Willard played the character of Larry Crockett. He plays him really more serious than I would see him in other films throughout his career. The first thing I would see him in after he did Salem's Lot, it would be like about 8 years later, and I would see him in the movie Roxanne with Steve Martin and Daryl Hannah. I'd see him in movies like Anchorman and American Wedding and in Wall-E, and just, you know, and I always really enjoyed anytime he would show up in a television show or a movie, just because I liked his portrayal of Larry Crockett in Salem's Lot so much. Now, Larry Crockett is very different in the book than the way that he was depicted in Tobe Hooper's miniseries. In fact, I think the representations that were done in Mikel Solomon's miniseries, the 2004 miniseries, and then the more recent 2024 Gary Doberman film, even though the character's only in really one scene, I feel like those depictions of Larry Crockett were closer to the book. Maybe it's because I grew up with the miniseries. I really prefer the version of Crockett that Fred Willard played. I love the way he played the character. And knowing that, you know, and seeing him, like I said, throughout his career and being more of a comedian, I really think it's kind of interesting to go back and rewatch his performance in Salem's Lot, because, like I said, he's a straight man in it. He's not funny at all. There's a couple of moments where his reactions to things, when you know, Cully tells him, you stay away from her, when Cully's supposed to be going to get the sideboard for Straker, and Bonnie said, oh, he was just kidding. And just the looks that Fred Willard gives, he doesn't have to say anything. He just really did a great job of his expressions and acting without really saying a lot. The character really isn't in the miniseries that much. The primary focus of, you know, the character at the beginning is, you know, establishing the relationship between him and Straker, and then also this little fling that he has going with Bonnie behind Cully's back. Some other things I really loved about Fred Willard's performance of Larry Crockett is when he's cornered, when he finally does get caught by Cully, when Cully catches Bonnie and him in the bedroom. Just the way that Fred Willard played it, there was no laughs. Even though there's that one line about the shorts he's wearing, those scenes where Cully makes him, and there's two different versions of it. There's the version that was for television, where Cully tells him to put the gun in front of his face and then sort of gives this little speech about how much self-control you can have. But in the movie version, or the European cut, he actually has him put the gun in his mouth, which I think is so much scarier. They both work, but for some reason that European version where he puts the gun in his mouth freaks me out even more. And you know, that was rough. And I think all the actors did a good job, but, you know, Fred Willard's character, Crockett, is on the receiving end. So his reactions, I think, are so real to what is happening and the fear of what's going to happen, that he's fucked, pretty much. You know, George Zunza, Cully, is a very intimidating man, and he's got a 12-gauge shotgun aimed at him. I think it's so well done, and I think all three actors did a great job. And like I said, in the one that I did on Julie Cobb, I think she does a great job in that, sort of shifting blame over to Crockett that he tried to rape her. And Crockett was scared the entire time about, you know, going there, and she just kept, you know, kind of threatening him, like, you better get here or else, you know, that kind of thing. And then he gets there, and then of course he's confronted, and then she goes to blame him to take the onus off of her. So again, great writing, great acting, And yeah, that scene always gets me. I was very saddened when he passed away. He actually passed away on my niece's birthday during the pandemic. It was right when the pandemic had started in 2020, and it really broke my heart because he was somebody that I had tried to reach out to through social media and try to talk to, and I never heard anything back. He did have a Facebook page, but yeah, I never got to talk to the man, so it's another kind of blow for me because so many of these people that made this movie that I love so much have passed on. But finding out any type of reference to Salem's Lot and the interviews that Fred Willard gave was a little bit tricky, but I did find one, and I will be talking about it. It's from Vulture, and the interview was conducted in 2011, but then they reran it when he passed 5 years ago. But yeah, what I'm going to do is just talk about his career, how he got started in the business, and then I'll go into that interview that he did with Vulture. So I hope everyone looks forward to this, and here we go. Frederick Charles Willard was born in Cleveland, Ohio on September 18, 1933. Willard was raised in Shaker Heights, Ohio in 1945. When Fred was 12 years old, his father, Frederick Charles Willard, died. Willard graduated from the Kentucky Military Institute in 1951 and the Virginia Military Institute in 1955. He was stationed in Germany while serving in the United States Army. Willard's stage career began when he moved to New York in the late 1950s. His initial work included a production of Desperate Hours at a local YMCA where he worked with future comedy partner Vic Greco. They later performed a Willard and Greco in the Greenwich Village area, found some success touring, and appeared on The Dean Martin Show, The Smothers Brothers Comedy Hour, and The Tonight Show. They were offered roles in the television series Get Smart and The Carol Burnett Show, but the offers fell through due to poor management. The two parted ways in 1968. Willard's film debut was the 1967 exploitation film Teenage Mother. He later reported that the audience at one screening booed when his character interrupted an attempted sexual assault of the female lead. One of Willard's earliest performing jobs was at Second City, Chicago, where he shared the stage with Robert Klein and David Steinberg. He was a founding member of the improvisational comedy group Ace Trucking Company, whose other members included Michael Mislove and Bill Saluga. They performed sketches on The Tonight Show starring Johnny Carson over 50 times and appeared regularly on This Is Tom Jones. In 1977 through 1978, Willard achieved wider fame as Barth Gimbel's Martin Mull obtrusive sidekick and announcer Jeffrey Hubbard on the Mary Hartman spin-offs Fernwood Tonight and America Tonight, which parodied television talk shows of the day. He was an original cast member of the popular series Real People in 1979. Then again, from 1981 to 1983, he played Tom Osborne in the 1987 Academy Award-winning short film Ray's Male Heterosexual Dance Hall. From 1987 to 1989, he starred as a bartender straight man in Sid and Marty Krofft's DC Follies and was the host of the Krofft Puppets, portraying political figures of the time. Willard appeared in several Christopher Guest films, such as A Mighty Wind, in which he played Mike LaFontaine, Best in Show, where he played Buck Laughlin, a dog show announcer with an unending stream of bad jokes and off-color comments. Waiting for Guffman, playing Ron Albertson, a travel agent who performs in amateur stage productions with his wife. This is Spinal Tap, where he played a lieutenant of the military base where Spinal Tap performed. And For Your Consideration is an obnoxious entertainment television show anchor. For his performance in Waiting for Guffman, Willard received a American Comedy Award nomination and a Screen Actors Guild nomination for Funniest Supporting Actor. He received the Boston Film Critics Award, an American Comedy Award, a Sierra Award, and a tribute from AFI for his portrayal of Buck Laughlin in Best in Show. He also appeared in movies like Moving Violations, American Wedding, and Anchorman: The Legend of Ron Burgundy. He was also on shows like Modern Family, Sister Sister, Everybody Loves Raymond. In 1968, Willard married Mary Lavelle. 1947 to 2018, they had a daughter, Hope Willard, and a grandson. Willard died at his home in Los Angeles on May 15, 2020, at the age of 86. According to his daughter and his representative, his cause of death was reported as cardiac arrest with coronary artery disease and myelodysplastic syndrome as contributing factors. Jamie Lee Curtis and her husband, Christopher Guest, who frequently worked with Willard, were the first to reveal the news of his death. Willard is buried at Forest Lawn Memorial Park in the Hollywood Hills. This is just an excerpt from the interview that Gwen Watkins from Vulture did with Fred Willard. This originally was published on April 8th of 2011. You've done a few indies in the past couple of years, but you've done very few films that weren't comedies. The big exception seems to be Salem's Lot. Fred Willard. Yeah, the director was Tobe Hooper, who directed one of my favorite horror films, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and I got a call to be in this movie, Salem's Lot. I'd read the book, and I got to the set, and I met Tobe Hooper, and he was the nicest man, just a very pleasant, quiet man with a little beard. I had no idea why he asked me to be in the movie. It was an out-and-out horror film. It had vampires. I played a real estate salesman, and at one point, I was supposed to leave my office and go across the street to talk to James Mason, who moved into the big mansion with what looked like caskets. And he said, okay, you run across the street with whatever little funny walk you come up with. And I thought, ooh, he wants a funny walk. He wants me to be funny, so that made sense. And one day, my wife was on the set visiting me, and one of the producers was talking to me and said, you know how we thought of you for this movie? And I said, no. And he said, you were in St. Martin's one morning, and I don't know what St. Martin's was, and it's a Catholic church. Now, my wife is Catholic, and I guess the producer is Catholic. He said, you were sitting in the congregation, and the sun came through the window, and it shined down on you, and we said, that's Fred Willard. We should use him in our movie. And I said to my wife, my God, I should have been going to synagogues for years. What was James Mason like? Fred Willard. Very quiet, very pleasant. I remember there was a scene, we were standing on the street, and he was up on the porch of his house, and they filmed him doing a scene, and they said, okay, cut. And for a second, I had an urge to run up the porch and pretend I was giving him some acting notes. And I look back on that, and I say, I think it's better that I didn't do that. It might have been funny if he'd played along with it, but if he hadn't, I would have felt like an ass. But I've forgotten I was in the movie with him till I saw some scenes from it about a year ago, and I said, oh my God, and I had a scene just me and James Mason. Yeah, I really like the way that Fred Willard underplayed the character, and now seeing, a couple of more representations of it, and actually having read the book, several times, I just really love the way that he played that character. Yeah, it would be nice to have seen maybe a little bit more exposition to the character, his motivations and things like that, because you did see he was very involved with Straker, pretty much everything Straker needed, he was going to be there, and he just kept asking, hey, Mr. Barlow, when's Mr. Barlow going to be here? That was kind of cool. I would have liked to have seen maybe a little bit more into that, like what had been promised to Crockett from Straker, because it was never alluded to in that representation of the character. I did like the way that Fred Willard played the character with a conscience. I mean, he's screwing around with Bonnie, and he knows it's wrong, and you can see it in many times, like where she's like, I'll see you tomorrow night, and he's like, you're sure? You're absolutely sure? Those kinds of things. And I really liked that. It really had a human quality to the character than if he had just played him like this slimy businessman. Just because they changed some of the things up, like the relationship with him and Bonnie, that was changed from the book and things like that. I mean, I really liked Fred Willard in the role, and he's always been one of my favorite characters in the movie. It's another one that's gone, and he's, like I said, I loved him in pretty much everything I saw him in. I loved him in American Wedding. I loved him in Roxanne. Moving Violations, I remember I died laughing when I saw that, and I believe I saw that one in the summer of '88, so it had been out for a while. Yeah, I can't say enough great things about this man. But yeah, I'm grateful that I was able to talk about him today. And if anybody else is a fan of his work in Salem's Lot or outside of it, has more comedic stuff that he was known for. Let me know what you guys think about Fred Willard. Let me know if you guys are fans. Also wanted to talk about this shirt that I'm wearing. It says Kurt Barlow Lives. I watched this video that's on YouTube. It's by this creator called Tabata Vision. I think that's how you say it. And it's Brandon Anthony Tabata. And he did a video recently about the Salem's Lot remake. And it's called Salem's Lot 2024 Deserves a Second Chance. And I really like the video because I've championed the film last year. Even though it's a remake I really didn't want, I still appreciate the film very much. And I think it's a great video. And there was an offer to get this shirt. It's through Redbubble. And I ended up ordering it. Got here really quickly. And I love the shirt, and I just thought I would wear it in today's video. So yeah, if you guys are interested in the shirt, you guys are interested in watching the video, I'll put a link down below to Tabata Vision. Just wanted to put that out there. And thanks so much again for supporting these quiet little tributes to Salem's Lot. I love doing them, and I have so many more to do. Thanks so much again, everyone, for watching. I hope everyone's doing well, and I'll talk to you again real soon. Take it easy, stay scared as always, and remember, you can do nothing against the master. Peace.